The D'Angelo wedding in Florence looked like something carved out of a billionaire's Pinterest board. White peacocks strutted through marble gardens. A champagne waterfall sparkled under the Tuscan sun. Custom violins played a stripped-down version of Empire State of Mind, while a sea of influencers posted carefully filtered photos tagged #D'Angelo Dynasty. Everyone looked like royalty. Everyone except me. I wasn't in designer threads or seated at the golden guest tables with monogram napkins. I didn't have a custom-tailored tux or an entourage to manage my look. I arrived solo, wearing a suit I bought 2 years ago in Soho that still fit, barely. But I didn't come to be seen. I came to watch. That's the difference between people like them and people like me. They wanted the spotlight. I already owned the stage. "Hey!" My sister, Olivia, waved at me from across the vineyard lawn, dressed in ivory silk and glittering in old European diamonds. "Over here." She had changed. Since meeting Lorenzo, the Italian startup prince who called himself a digital futurist, but hadn't coded a line in his life, Olivia started saying things like La Dolce Vita and Daddy's Legacy, as if she was born on the Amalfi Coast and not Astoria, Queens. I kissed her cheek, handed her the gift, a Cartier box she didn't even open, and stood there awkwardly while Lorenzo's eyes skimmed past me like a waiter who'd forgotten the wine list. "Who's this?" Someone from Lorenzo's camp asked. The groom barely turned around. "That's just Liv's weird cousin from the States. A bit of a loner. Tech stuff, I think." There it was. The first strike. He smirked. One of those half-laughs that says, "Why are you even here?" There were polite chuckles around us. One woman nudged her friend and whispered something in Italian, probably about my tie. I didn't react. I didn't blink. I just smiled. I waited, because the real show hadn't started yet. The moment came over dinner. We were seated under the vineyard lights. I was at one of the side tables, far from the bridal party. The D'Angelo patriarch, Giovanni D'Angelo, made his entrance late, flanked by 2 assistants, 1 security detail, and a woman who looked more CEO than companion. He was everything Lorenzo wasn't. Silent, powerful, and sharply observant. He sat near me by mistake, or so it seemed. I greeted him with the same blank smile I'd used all night. He poured himself a glass of red wine. "And you are?" he asked, barely looking my way. I extended my hand. Calm, controlled. Dominic Carrington. The sound of my last name slipped into the air like a silent detonation. Giovanni froze mid-sip. His knuckles tightened. The stem of his wine glass trembled. His eyes slowly lifted to mine, not in confusion, but in recognition. "Carrington?" he repeated. I nodded. "Yes, sir. From Manhattan." The man didn't blink. He just turned his head and stared at Lorenzo. "You said he was what?" he asked. Loud enough that the entire table stopped eating. Silence. Deafening, delicious silence. Lorenzo's laugh died in his throat. I didn't know. I mean, he said, "You absolute idiot," Giovanni muttered, more to himself than anyone else. Because Carrington isn't just a name. It's the name. The Carrington Media Group owns 5 of the top digital publishing platforms in North America, 3 broadcast networks, and a stake in a dozen high-yield data mining companies. And I, Dominic Carrington, am the sole inheritor of it all. But I don't flaunt it. I don't wear the label. I don't sit on panels. I don't party with CEOs in Ibiza. I build legacies, quietly. That night, Giovanni pulled me aside. "You should have told me," he said, struggling to hide the shift in his posture. The way his tone went from dismissive to reverent. "I don't usually introduce myself to people who underestimate me," I replied. He nodded slowly. "You've got presence. Vision. I could use that. How would you like a seat on the D'Angelo board?" I smiled politely. "I'm flattered. But I'm already merging with your biggest competitor." Giovanni's expression shattered. "You're what?" "It's called Project Dominion, a multi-platform integration between Carrington Digital and Vauxhall Media. Effective next quarter. I came to your wedding to vet you. You failed." He looked like a man who'd just found a crack in his empire. I leaned in closer. Oh, and one more thing, you might want to start grooming someone else to lead. Your son has the IQ of a biscotti. 2 weeks later, the first domino fell. A video leaked to several high-profile media outlets. In it, Lorenzo can be seen at the wedding mocking poor cousins, calling them dead weight, and laughing about how some people are just filler characters in other people's lives. That clip went viral in under 24 hours. Guess who had the footage? Guess who handed it anonymously to a rival journalist with just the right motivation? Yeah, me. D'Angelo Corp stock dipped 9% overnight. Investors panicked. Giovanni issued an apology. Lorenzo went dark on social media. Olivia, my sister, found herself suddenly excluded from certain meetings, certain privileges, certain perks. I sent her a villa in the Hamptons, bought and paid for by her weird cousin. So here's the question. What do you do when someone tries to reduce you to a footnote at your own family's table? You let them speak. You let them laugh. Then you say your name. You let it echo. And you watch the room shift. Speech balloon, what would you do if someone disrespected you in front of their whole family, only to realize you owned the game they were playing? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And if you love elegant revenge stories with a twist of luxury and power, hit that subscribe button.